Hi, my name is Stephen Rowe, and I will talk to you about my user story in detail. Here we are in Mingle, and my user story is, as a PI, I would like to be able to answer the questions posed to the PI by the sponsor so that I can generate the 6-month report as requested by the sponsor. The acceptance criteria is 1. The PI can answer every question that the form supplies. Question would be implementation, initial experiences, and outcomes. And here are the list of questions that are provided. 2. Evaluation. And here's the questions that are provided in the form. The task it took me to complete this user task was to learn the mean stack, create UML diagrams, backend development, front-end development, connect to a Mongo database, testing and debugging, and integrate with my group members. For documentation, this is my use case. As a PI, I would like to fill out a 6-month report. The sequence of my user story is a PI will fill out a 6-month report on the report page and then submit it to the repository, and I will get a response back from the repository. For my class diagram, I have a report model that has 11 questions, all consist of strings, and it has a save function. I use an express router called the report router for the backend handling of request. I use a report service where I have 2 functions called create and get, which create the request according to whatever the user has chosen. I have a report controller for the middle end. It is called ReportController, and I have a function called save report. This gets connected to the UI router for the state of my page, and my HTML page, which consists of an ng submit. Now for the code. This is my report model. It's a schema, and I use a mongoose. I'll tell you that in a bit. I create a variable called report schema, which is a new schema, and it consists of questions 1 through 11. They are type string, and as you can see, these are all required. And then I export the model as report with the variable report schema. This is my report HTML. This is the front end. Here the PI will be able to answer the questions that have been given to him. Here's question 1. Here's question 2. And so on and so forth. Here's where I give each question a unique variable, so I'll be able to extract it for the controller. And this is a form. Therefore, on ng submit, I'm going to save the report. Down here, I have a little div created showing me a message. This message will be based upon whether the server was able to save the form into the database successfully or unsuccessfully. My report controller. Here's my function called save report. If any of the fields are empty, it would alert the user to please fill in all the fields. Else, processing equals true. I'm going to clear the message just in case anything was left behind. Then I'm going to call report.create. Report is my service. vm.formData is the information that the PI has provided within the form. Then on a success, meaning that the report successfully saved, processing equals false, I'm going to clear the form data, and I'm going to respond with the message. Now for the service call. This is my service. It is a factory called report. And I create a report factory. And here's my create and my get. The create is a post request to this address, and it consists of one parameter, form data, which is the data that the PI filled in the form. The get is a get request to get forms from the database, which is needed for another user story. And here are the backend routes. I create a model called report. On a post request, which is this section here, I'm going to I'm going to create a variable called report based on my report model, and I will be filling in the variables to be submitted to the database based on the form data that was sent to me by the request. As soon as I extracted all the information, I will then save it to the database by calling report.save, and if there's an error, I will return the error, or return the message. If there is no error, I will respond by saying the report has been created. If it is a GET request, I'm going to find all the forms that have been submitted to the database, and if there's an error, respond with an error. And if there is no errors, then I will respond with the report. And the controller will then parse the information that's being sent through JSON. As far as improving this user story, the PI will be able to select from a list of projects to submit the 6-month report to the sponsor, instead of just generating a 6-month report. This has been the implementation of my user story. Thank you for listening.